So first I want to start off by saying people that are so concerned that I'll never get back to politics, do not be concerned. I will eventually get back to politics. I'm doing cycles. I've always tried to be switching away from politics back toward a health-oriented channel. And I occasionally cover religions, and I do plan on branching out into anthropology, most likely physical and biological anthropology and forensic anthropology, just because they're what interests me the most. Of course, cultural anthropology interests me, but I won't be doing anything too in-depth in that except for maybe speaking about some subjects. But what I want to point out, and of course these are cultural anthropology videos that I'm doing right now, but they're done in a way of explanation more than any type of study, and that's how I try to do this, is from a layman's point of view, because I am a layman, of course. I don't have an academic degree in any of these things. However, this video is going to be about the use of intoxicants amongst voodoo practitioners and the achievement of ecstatic states through the use of a combination of dancing, music, and intoxicants, primarily intoxicants. And people might be wondering, why didn't I cover this in my last video regarding, voodoo and, dancing and music and what have you, and spiritual possession and divine possession? And why didn't I cover this in my other video on the occult pharmacopoeia of voodoo? Well, the reason why is because it's different. And how is it different? Well, for example, during the video, the occult pharmacopoeia, I was more interested in explaining the use of pharmacological knowledge by the voodoo practitioners in the use of these substances to elicit a physiological and magical outcome in reality, to use their pharmacological knowledge of different herbs and different ingredients, herbs, animal ingredients, minerals, resins, etc., to use this knowledge to create change to occur in conformity with one's will, in order basically to practice magic. Magic is the ability to cause change to occur in conformity with one's will in reality. That is how I'm defining magic. Whatever means are used, but magic is causing change to occur in conformity with one's will in reality. And that's what voodoo practitioners do with their occult pharmacopoeia. Now, why didn't I deal with it in spirit or divine possession? Well, because that video was not really meant to deal with the use of intoxicants so much as it was with divine and spiritual possession in the voodoo rite. Now, aside from intoxicants, okay, intoxicants are a different story, which are used, and I've spoken about this in my book on Create Your Own Religion by Timothy Leary. And Timothy Leary was a big believer in using substances to create an altered state, a religious experience, etc. And I do encourage people to read the writings of Timothy Leary. Of course, I don't encourage people to do what Timothy Leary said, because I'm against, illicit drug use, or even legal drug use, for that matter. I don't promote that. But so we're going to get into the use primarily of alcohol. And if you look in offshoots of these things in the Afro-Caribbean religions, you even have Rastafarianism, which embraces the use of marijuana, and you have this also in the voodoo situation, the use of marijuana, alcohol, and other substances to elicit a spiritual experience. And this is the use of intoxicants. Now, this is accompanied with dancing, music, etc., to elicit this response, this possession by the divine, this possession by ancestor spirits, etc. And this is a common occurrence in voodoo. Now, what people don't understand, voodoo is not the only contemporary religion that embraces these types of practices. In fact, one might want to look toward Christianity, particularly Pentecostal Christianity, and the use of snake dancing and the drinking of poison. See, people only see the snake handling. The snake handling is very disturbing. What they don't see is the poison drinking, which is also very disturbing. And what I want to point out is this, that what people don't understand, this is what happens when people take the Bible literally. I forget exactly which passage it is. I'll find it and I'll put it in the comments or the description. I might have too much in my description already. But if I can find the passage, the passage states something like, "You will pick up vipers and you will not be bitten, and you will drink poison and you will not die." So that's the gist of the biblical passage. Now think about that. Think about how out of touch with reality somebody would be to take a biblical passage and go, this is what I'm basing my whole spiritual practice on, is this one biblical passage that I will pick up snakes and I will not be bitten, and I will drink poison and I won't die, and to base their life around that. And of course many people are bitten, and of course many people die, and of course all the time it is blamed on a lack of faith. And is that the case? No. It's the fact that you're picking up snakes and drinking poison that's causing this. But the altered states that are elicited, everything from speaking in tongues to being what's called Messiah complex and these things, is a result of these practices. Even in the more straightforward evangelical practices, not straight Protestantism, but straight evangelical practices, which unfortunately have become a thing. Mind you that Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, Betty White, no, not Betty White, she's the woman that was the trailer trash that was Donald Trump's spiritual advisor. She would regularly speak in tongues. In fact, I'll never forget, I was sitting with my roommate years back, and she was babbling about Jehovah Jireh and how Jehovah Jireh has a plan for me, and I can, I'll be taken care of by Jehovah Jireh, and whatever the hell that means, because I don't know what the hell a Jehovah Jireh is, okay? But I called the number, and I was joking with them. And I said, so what is this great divine plan? Is it a retirement plan? Is it a 401k? Medical insurance? What exactly does Jehovah Jireh have planned for me? And of course the answer was, you're being facetious, aren't you? No, of course I'm not being facetious. I'm dead serious. Give me a break. My point is that these outrageous misinterpretations of reality resulting, you don't even need intoxicants if the person's psychotic enough, as you can see in the evangelical community. And this is a conditioned psychosis, okay? This is the psychosis of folie à deux. This is the psychosis of mass hypnosis. This is the psychosis of the zombification of the population through peer pressure, okay? If you look at the Trump supporters like QAnon and things like that, this is mass hypnosis. This is people are sleeping. They are asleep. And you see it on the other side too, but with the evangelicals, it's got a level of danger involved, okay? And this is very similar to voodoo. Very similar to what goes on in voodoo. In fact, I would say that half the country is in a hypnotic state, is in a trance-like state, and worships Donald Trump at this moment. And it's very scary. So what is the alternative to a trance-like state? What is the alternative to intoxicants? Well, of course, it's the 8 laws of health. Now, I'm not preaching Adventism, but I am preaching biologic living. And I would love people to look at what I have as the alternatives to this in the description, because I do. I have links to the 8 Laws of Health and the teachings of John Harvey Kellogg, and I would like people to understand that there is an alternative to being in a hypnotic trance-like state where you are adhering to things based on emotion. Not even emotion anymore. I don't even think these people have emotion left. They're just mindless zombies at this point. But that's the thing, is you have to understand that this religious experience, when politics has become a religious experience as it has in this country, somebody needs to say something, and apparently I'm the only one saying something about this, so I'm going to say it. There is very little difference between the Trump movement, the QAnon movement, Pentecostalism, and voodoo. This is the side effect of the unholy merger of Christianity with the cult of personality and with these belief systems that do not mesh with reality on reality's terms. And that's what I would like to say at the end of this video. That's all for this video.